Hello, my name is Professor Ed. Let us talk about the founding fathers of the United States, especially Theodore Roosevelt. Just a side note, there was no continent named Africa. The first group of people who first crossed the land bridge, we now know as the Bering Strait, was the original native Indians that Black Americans are descendants of. The faces on Mount Rushmore are George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. These four U.S. presidents represent the founding, expansion, preservation, and development of the United States over its first 150 years of history. Theodore Roosevelt was the 26th President of the United States. He was the Ast. Sec. of the Navy, soldier, senator, U.S. President. His background wasn't easy, but he did have a plan. Like anyone else, he took complete advantage of his situations. Plus, it helps when you know people. What did he do before? The group photo of U.S. Army victors on Kettle Hill on about July 3, 1898, after the Battle of San Juan Hills. Left to right are officers and men of the vaunted, brave Rifles, of the 3rd U.S. Cavalry Regiment. Center is the Rough Riders, of the 1st Volunteer Cavalry Regiment, with former Ast. Secretary of the Navy, Colonel Theodore Roosevelt, center, with a revolver salvaged from the USS Maine in his holster, and the Black American troopers, Buffalo Soldiers, of the 10th U.S. Cavalry to the right. That actually led the charge. Buffalo Soldiers 9th, 10th, and 24th Cavalry. Theodore Roosevelt was quoted as never before seeing the bravery of the Black American soldiers. The Buffalo Soldiers were at the front lines on the charge of San Juan Hill to secure its victory, and Theodore Roosevelt came in behind them. Buffalo Soldiers. Buffalo Soldiers were the original native Indians. Now when it came to making of the 9th, 10th, and 24th Cavalry, it was a mixture of Cherokee, Seminole, Powhatan and Black American freedmen that wanted to prove their worth as American citizens. They were the perfect soldiers. Good at horse riding, trackers, outdoors men, pistol and rifle shooting. Who better to go in combat with? He used his influence to garner favors and move into stations that most wouldn't be able to move in. He also made deals with hateful men that didn't like the fact that he was helping Black Americans. What he did and didn't do. His story of his actions at San Juan Hill were falsely misrepresented. The Black American and Black Native Indian soldiers were not properly told, as they were doing most if not all of the fighting. Did he ride on his horse up San Juan Hill? Yes, he did. All of the other bravado? No. T.R. and Minnie Cox. In January 1903, Roosevelt tested the power of the federal government to interfere in the race problem when he refused to allow the town of Indianola, Mississippi, to drive out its Black American postmaster. Roosevelt chose to suspend service at the Indianola post office rather than accept the resignation of Postmaster Minnie Cox, who had provided excellent service, and appoint a white man in her place. 3. His action stirred the national debate about race, North and South, including in the U.S. Senate. Tr. and the postal carrier. Another account of the Roosevelt administration standing by a Black American appointee arose in 1903 when Postmaster General Henry C. Payne suspended rural mail delivery in a Tennessee community whose Black American carrier had been held up and threatened by armed, masked men. Payne stated that the government had two options: send U.S. troops to protect the mail carrier on his route, or suspend the route. Replacing the carrier with a white man, simply because some customers disapproved of a Black American mail carrier. What he may have known. What most white Americans didn't know is the fact that the U.S. postal system was the true backbone of American communication in that time frame. Hundreds of thousands of packages and parcels and millions of letters were processed for delivery through mail each day. The U.S. postal system gave their low-rate jobs to Black Americans. Most racist white Americans didn't understand how important those jobs really were. President Roosevelt knew if he didn't protect Black Americans, the postal system could crash and the ripple effect could possibly crash the economy. Why is he celebrated? This isn't taught in U.S. schools. The evidence of his occasional kindness to Black Americans is shown in his character and signed government documents, so why is the evidence of his assistance not subject matter in U.S. public schools? Please like and subscribe. There is so much to learn that isn't being taught.